The moon hung low in the night sky, its pale light casting eerie shadows across the surface of the lake. The air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth as a group of friends gathered at the water's edge, their voices hushed in reverence for the stillness of the night. Among them stood Jake, a rugged outdoorsman with a love for adventure that bordered on obsession. He had been the one to suggest the late-night fishing trip, promising his friends an experience they would never forget. As they stood before the rusted gates leading to the lake, Jake couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement coursing through his veins. There was something about the darkness of the night, the cool breeze on his skin, that made him feel alive in a way he never did during the daylight hours. But as he glanced out across the water, a sense of unease settled over him, a feeling that there was something lurking just beneath the surface, something dark and mysterious that he couldn't quite put into words. Ignoring the feeling, Jake pushed open the creaking gates, the sound echoing ominously in the stillness of the night. With hesitant steps, he led his friends down the narrow path that wound its way towards the water's edge, the darkness pressing in around them like a suffocating blanket. As they reached the shoreline, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that there were eyes upon them, hidden in the shadows of the trees. But when he glanced around, all he saw was the empty expanse of the lake, its surface shimmering in the moonlight like a sheet of liquid silver. With a shake of his head, Jake pushed the feeling aside, focusing instead on the task at hand. Tonight was about adventure, about camaraderie, about making memories that would last a lifetime. And as he cast his line out into the dark waters of the lake, he couldn't help but feel a sense of exhilaration at the thought of what the night might hold. As the moon hangs low in the ink-black sky, casting its ghostly glow upon the world below, a group of friends gathers at the edge of a secluded lake. The air is thick with anticipation, a palpable sense of excitement mingling with the cool night breeze. They stand before the rusted gates leading to the water's edge, their hearts pounding in their chests as they prepare to embark on a night of fishing beneath the stars. But as they peer into the darkness beyond, a chill runs down their spines, a foreboding presence lingering just beyond the veil of shadows. With hesitant steps, they push open the creaking gates, the sound echoing ominously in the stillness of the night. Each footfall is met with a symphony of rustling leaves and snapping twigs, the forest alive with the whispering of unseen forces. And as they make their way towards the water, the moonlight casting eerie patterns upon the surface of the lake, they can't shake the feeling that they are not alone, that something sinister lurks beneath the tranquil facade of the water's edge. As the friends settle in along the shoreline, casting their lines out into the dark waters, a sense of unease settles over them like a shroud. The night is still, the only sound the gentle lapping of waves against the shore and the occasional splash as a fish breaks the surface. But then, out of the corner of their eyes, they see it, a disturbance in the water, a ripple spreading outwards like the tendrils of some unseen creature. At first, they dismiss it as nothing more than the result of a passing fish or a gust of wind. But as the ripples grow larger and more frequent, their unease turns to fear. They exchange nervous glances, the hairs on the back of their necks standing on end as they realize that something is not quite right, that there is something lurking beneath the surface of the lake, something dark and sinister. Despite their growing sense of dread, one of the friends volunteers to investigate the source of the strange ripples, his curiosity outweighing his fear. With trembling hands, he climbs into a small rowboat moored along the shore, pushing off into the dark waters with nothing but a flashlight to guide his way. As he rows further from the safety of the shoreline, the darkness seems to close in around him, the only sound the creaking of the boat and the soft splash of oars against water. The moon hangs low in the sky, casting long shadows upon the surface of the lake, as if warning him to turn back while he still can. But he presses on, drawn inexorably towards the source of the disturbance, his heart pounding in his chest with each stroke of the oars. And as he reaches the spot where the ripples originated, he shines his flashlight into the murky depths, his breath catching in his throat at what he sees. There, just beneath the surface of the water, He sees it, a bloated figure tangled in fishing line and weeds, its lifeless eyes staring sightlessly into the darkness. His blood runs cold as he realizes that he has stumbled upon a corpse, a body discarded like so much refuse, left to rot in the cold embrace of the lake. With trembling hands, he reaches out to touch the lifeless form, his fingers brushing against cold, clammy flesh. The stench of decay hangs heavy in the air, making him gag as he struggles to contain his rising panic. He knows he should turn back, should row as fast as he can back to the safety of the shore. But something holds him rooted to the spot, a morbid fascination with the gruesome scene playing out before him, as if he is unable to tear his eyes away from the horror of death. With a strangled cry, he pushes away from the corpse, his hands shaking so violently that he can barely hold on to the oars. Panic courses through his veins, urging him to flee, to escape from this nightmare and never look back. But as he turns the boat towards the safety of the shoreline, he hears it, the sound of something moving beneath the water, something large and powerful, thrashing about in the darkness. His heart leaps into his throat as he realizes that he is not alone, that there is something else out there with him, something far more terrifying than he could have ever imagined. With renewed urgency, he digs the oars into the water, propelling the boat forward with all his strength. The shoreline looms closer with each passing moment, a beacon of safety in the darkness, as he prays silently to whatever gods may be listening to let him make it back to shore alive. As he reaches the safety of the shoreline, he stumbles from the boat, collapsing onto the ground in a heap of exhausted limbs and ragged breaths. His friends rush to his side, their faces pale with fear as they help him to his feet, their questions coming in a frantic rush. But he has no answers for them, no words to describe the horrors he has witnessed in the depths of the lake. All he can do is shake his head, his mind reeling with images of death and decay, as he struggles to come to terms with the nightmare that has unfolded before his eyes. And as the authorities are called to investigate the grisly discovery, he knows that his life will never be the same, that the horrors of that fateful night will haunt his dreams for the rest of his days, reminder of the darkness that lurks just beneath the surface of the world. As the sun rises over the lake, casting its golden light upon the water's surface, a sense of calm settles over the scene, as if the horrors of the night before have been washed away by the dawn. But beneath the tranquil facade of the lake, a darkness lingers, a darkness that will never truly be banished, no matter how brightly the sun may shine. And as the friends gather their belongings and prepare to leave the lake behind, they can't shake the feeling that they are leaving something behind, that they are walking away from a nightmare that will follow them wherever they go, a shadow that will never truly be dispelled.